Very good. I'm in High right now. It's working, as always. Is the frequency in use? Alrighty, it is not. Good evening, this is Paul, K4PEW with the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net. Is there an emergency or priority traffic? Didn't think so. Never is, never has been. I'm pretty sure there never will be. Because if you're waiting for me to start to give priority traffic, there's something wrong. So you can break any time for priority traffic or an emergency. Just say so immediately as soon as you need. Let's see. For information on that, you can see us, of course, on YouTube under the Brain Trusts, BRAINTRUSTS, or you can do it in the search block under that name or under the YouTube. Use my call, Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey. Or you can look us up on Yahoo Groups, MJ_SS, or you can send an email to Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey at ARRL.net, or last but not least, the 146.415.net website, 146.415.net website. The purpose of the net is to support and train ham radio operators to have fun and improve their stations as they become more capable of communicating and serving their community in the event of a disaster, which we hope never happens. We invite everyone to use the net to announce amateur radio events, activities, resources, and training in support of the cities surrounding Wilson and Davidson County and anywhere else that's around us. We're not particular since our signal goes out to all over probably 4 or 5 counties. Never actually looked. I know it goes out to, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nah, probably 7 counties or better. So, let's see, where was I? Does anybody have any announcements? That's what it is. Announcements. Does anybody have any announcements for that? I do have one about the WEMA Tuesday night net, so it doesn't have to be reiterated by somebody else. But any other announcements? I'm not hearing anything. Yeah, let me make sure I was on frequency. We have, of course, today's Wednesday, so tomorrow night is the Wilson County Amateur Radio Club's Aries Information Net. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m., 147, 105, and a 156.7 PL. And that's a plus offset, of course. And Saturday night, we have a net here again, same time, same place. Well, more or less same place. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, the WEMA repeaters. I'll give those to you anyway. Hold on.
Contact.
Yes?
Did you get my email there, Paul?
Who is this?
I'm sorry, KK4W still.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I have your email. Why?
I just didn't know if you wanted me to announce or you're going to cover it. I just sent it a few minutes ago. Apologize for the last minute.
Oh, that's all right. I got it in time. Got it near the last minute. The last minute would be while I'm talking, but no, I got it earlier than that. The Aries, the WEMA and Aries net and frequency assignments were, and they changed it now, so everybody pay attention. It's going to, for those of you familiar with it, it's the Watertown repeater is going to be the primary VHF repeater, and that's 146.835 with a tone of 100 with a negative offset. And then, of course, the secondary repeater, which on the WEMA emergency preparedness nets on Tuesday evening, they'll be going immediately to that. They'll be going to their alternate repeater, which is the 442.125, tone 100 and a plus offset. That's the Taylorsville repeater. That's the one they've been on. And then their alternative at the last stage of that is their VHF Simplex frequency, which looks really familiar, 146.415. So that's, anybody need any fill on that, but I'll be sending out reminders with those frequencies built into that, and I'm sure everybody's got that Watertown repeater, and or maybe they just won't own up to it in their system, but it's there. We have got the fellow at the silent key who keeps talking about tone 100s there, so I know you know. If anybody has any questions on that portion of the announcements. All righty, I don't think I have any more. I don't have any announcements on Ham Fests, other than I want y'all to be ready for the upcoming Wilson County Ham Fest. It's at the fairgrounds that Wilson County Amateur Radio Club puts on. It's always a good thing. I hope it's even be better this year, because the last 3 years have been really great, good results, good participation. So I want to make a point to find out where and when that is. And I don't have the date right in front of me. Bill, do you have that date in front of you?
Yeah, that would be the 27th of July. 27th of July, starting at 8 a.m. in the morning. July 28th.
All right. Is it July 27th or 28th? Let's get it straight. It's got to be the 27th, which is a Saturday.
That's correct. 27th. Okay, my count is wrong. You're right.
Somebody was looking at the offbeat calendar. All right, very good. July 27th. July 27th. So don't do anything that day. Can't get sick. Can't get married. You can't be a silent key. You got to show up there. And even if it means temporary separation from the wife, you can have to be there on the 27th. All right, that's the 27th. And you want to be there before 8 o'clock, just so you get a nice close parking spot. And don't forget to get a table there. You'll be getting some information. If you need it, just let me know. All right. Any other announcements before we move on?
Comment.
Go ahead, Michael.
Don't forget breakfast Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. See, you had to remind me. Breakfast. That's right. The big breakfast. Barbecues in Mount Juliet. That's 8 o'clock. That's also an 8 o'clock event. Some people get there early. Some people get there after 8 o'clock. They tell their XYL they're going out to get gasoline, and they go eat breakfast with us. It's and Barbecues in Mount Juliet. It's just a little south of the railroad tracks, the railroad station. It's about 2 miles south of Lebanon Road. It's about 2 miles north of I-40. In case you're interested, and it's right on Mount Juliet Road on the east side of the road. You can go by it if you're not paying attention, but it's right there. Barbecues, and we have a good time. We get anywhere between 12 and 22 people show up, so it's a good time to like-minded people to sit and chat, have coffee, and maybe eat a little breakfast if you want to, but you're not obligated to buy nothing. And it's not a formal meeting, so you don't have to worry about voting or secret handshakes or secret passwords or dues. So we don't worry about any of those things. All righty. Thank you, Michael, for reminding me. Any other things I've forgotten about? All right. Very good. I do want to mention this is our 490-something net, I believe it is. But going into our 4.5. This is about, no, in another 10 days, I think it'll be 4 years and 6 months of nets. So we're doing pretty good. I guess we're doing pretty good. We're still here. All righty. This time we're going to be starting from the west of Mount Juliet. Let's start now. K4PEW at the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net, coming from west of Mount Juliet Road. Please come. You're going to have to say it a little louder, please. TJ. KN4 TJF. Yeah, I couldn't remember the call. I needed you to say it a second time. Very good, Rick. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. You?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. In spite of the fact that I spent better than a half an hour on a what do you call it? The sinful rowing machine, which is really just a torture machine.
Yeah, a little bit evil device. I'm just going to say the ISS is over.
What were you talking about? The ISS? Is that what I heard you say?
Affirmative.
And it's going overhead tomorrow or tonight or what?
That was tonight.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever messed with that. If I have, I'd remember. Very good. Are you able to pick that up?
I don't think so, but I can see it.
Ah, okay. Well, you might be able to hear it if you know the frequency, and I don't know the frequency. Is there anybody on frequency who knows that frequency for the ISS if they're doing anything?
It's passed.
Oh, it's already passed. I mean, it died or it just went overhead?
Just went overhead.
All right, never mind. All right, it already passed. All right, Rick, appreciate that. But everything's going all right, and you're still on track to upgrade the antenna in this fiscal year? Yeah, well, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's exciting, really. It's exciting for everybody, including you, to see people upgrade and do better with their signals. Because your signal's not too bad. I mean, it's not a great signal, but I am able to copy it pretty decent.
I got you there. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to do that.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. All right, very good, Rick. Rick, good to have you in there. That was Kilo November 4 Tango Juliet Whiskey. He's in Ashland City, west of Nashville. There, that's a good signal for the distance and for having a relatively small antenna. So good to have you in there, Rick. And I'm looking forward to the results on the new antenna. Who else we got west of Mount Juliet?
KM4YRS.
Yeah, you can hear him pretty good.
I can hear him actually pretty well tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. There's a lot of static in there, and it was, like I said, it was readable, and that's all that really matters. Although it's so much nicer to have a nice clear signal like yours.
Yeah, his LMR 400 came yesterday, so we're gonna at least do that until we can get the new antenna.
Yeah, man, it's the gold standard of feed line if you're not using hard line, isn't it?
Sure enough, I love it.
Yeah, it works well. I got a little roll of it here. I forgot I had it 25 feet that I need to hook up another antenna with up here. All right, good to have you in there, Michael. That's Michael in Belshire. The Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo Foxtrot, and prior to that, that was his brother Rick, who he's been pushing along, and probably I don't know. Is he older or younger than you? I forget.
He's younger than me, 4 years.
Okay, so you really did teach him everything you knew.
I taught him everything I know, and he still don't know that.
I think he said the same thing.
I'm sure he did.
All right, very good. Good to have you in there, Michael. Who else west of Mount Juliet, please come in. Anybody else west? We'll come back to you if you're being slow, but anybody there west, please come in.
And 4 BTW for Alpha Whiskey Echo.
Hold on a second there, John. I had Kilo November 4 Bravo Tango Whiskey in there. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Are you west tonight?
I'm always just a hair west, not by much though.
Ah, okay, very good. So which you're on your obviously your better machine than normal, the 50 watt one or 65 watt, which is it?
80.
Oh yeah, 80. You probably don't need 80 to get to me then.
No, not really. I could do that with 5, if even that much.
You been doing anything exciting? I mean, besides school?
Lots of tests. But yeah, we've been working on. I'm the head of one of our teams that we're sending down to Huntsville tomorrow, actually, for the NASA Human Exploration Rover Challenge. So we've built 2 rovers. We're sending 2 teams. We've built 2. Imagine like 2-man bicycles on steroids to go run a sort of obstacle course race down there at the Space and Rocket Center.
No, those are manned bicycles?
Yes, 2 man. They're 4 wheels. They're not actually bicycles, but they're human-powered, 2-person manned rovers.
What are they supposed to do? I mean, they have software on them or something?
No, so we go down there. They're made of steel and bike chains, essentially. We go down to Huntsville to the Space and Rocket Center, and they have this about a mile-long course set up. It's an obstacle course / race. And around 100 different teams compete. Some are colleges, some are high schools. We go down there, we race, we go through, there's some tasks we have to complete, like sample collection systems, things like that. There's telemetry systems, a few other various little bits and pieces to collect a certain amount of points. And then there's winners at the end of it. So we just have to run around the track and be able to do as many of the different tasks as we can.
Oh, I see. So it's tasks involved. I got you. So it's endurance plus brains.
Yep, a little bit of both.
Ah, it sounds cool, cool. I'm glad you're involved in that kind of stuff. It sounds like a lot of fun. You know, Robin K4 IDC just came back from a rocketry competition down there just last week.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Like the small model rockets.
Well, not too small. The ones they built at Vanderbilt, I think, were I want to say 40 to 50 inches tall and got up to I don't know 3,000 something feet.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I would love to be able to do that too.
Yeah, talk to Robin. They're pretty big rockets, I'll tell you.
That sounds, wow, those are big.
Yeah, they are big. All right, very good, Colt. Got to hit good. I got to wet your whistle on that one, boy. Now you're going to be calling Robin to try to get involved over at Vanderbilt. Well, very good. That's Colt. He's in northwest Wilson County. That's Kilo November 4 Bravo Tango Whiskey. Still in high school, but seemingly doing extraordinarily well. Light years ahead of where I was when I was that age. Appreciate you being there, Colt. Next up was John, Whiskey 4 Alpha Whiskey Echo. What's going on?
I'm just, I've got a big technical engineering project to do this week, but at least I've got the beam on the way. I've got one of the M squared Yagis assembled, so at least I have to walk past it when I go downstairs.
Which M squared Yagi are you using?
Well, I've got two. I've got a 7-element, which I'm going to mount on a cross boom with a 440 on the other end of the cross boom and make both of those vertical. And then I've got a 12-element that I'll put on the top of the mast as the horizontal.
Oh, wow. You're going to be the king over there on the west side.
Well, they're not going to be all that high, but it certainly should make a difference being able to aim it.
Oh, yeah. Well, no question about it. I mean, my 9-element M squared, when you do the calculations, it's, on 50 watts, it's a lot of power in one direction.
Exactly. I haven't quite finalized how I want to switch them because I'm going to have a 6-meter horizontal at the base of the mast, all sitting on, it's, an 8-foot mast on top of the rotator, but running 600 LMR, I need to do a switch box actually at the antenna for the 3 UHF or the VHF UHF.
Yep, I got you. Now that'll be good. So you'll have, did I hear that correctly? You have a couple of things horizontal, or one horizontal and a couple vertical?
Yeah, it's all parts I found from M squared. I'll have a 6-meter M squared Yagi horizontal just above the rotator, and then the middle of the mast it'll be a 5-foot cross boom with a vertical 2-meter and 440 on each end, and then a 12-element M squared on the very top.
Oh yeah. Now that 12 element's going to be for what? Sideband or FM?
No, it'll be, well, it could do anything, but the reason I'm putting it up is, I'm not a contester, but it might be fun to use it to play a little bit during the VHF contest.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you probably know this, but they send 2 sets of elements with those beams. One for horizontal, one for vertical.
Well, it's just a matter of rotating it in the mount. It's just, when you do it vertically, you can't do it on a metal mast. You need to put in a section of fiberglass. But, there's some debate. There's only a 3 dB difference in horizontal and vertical. And some people have even, mounted a Yagi at a 45 degree as a compromise.
Ah, just to split the difference. Well, wait a minute. I think you misunderstood what I said. That I ordered that 9-element came with the mast and one set of elements for vertical and another set of elements packaged for horizontal.
Oh, yeah. You must have gotten the one that's that either came with circular polarization switching or XY switching.
No. You can install them whichever way you want. You know, if you want to put it up as a horizontal, use one set. You can use it for vertical, use the other set.
Yeah, I'll have to take. Which one is that? The 9-element?
Yes. I forgot the number on it now, but yes.
Yeah, they make a lot of variations, you know, because they're really into the satellite stack.
Yeah, no, they're a good company. I like the quality of their product as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, well, very good, John. That's John, Whiskey 4 Alpha Whiskey Echo in Bellevue, which is just southwest Nashville. Great signal as always. I can't wait to have hear all that stuff put up and hear the results on all that stuff. That's great. Who else we got west of Mount Juliet? All righty, let's go south of Mount Juliet. Please come out south of 40.
K4IDC.
Hey, yeah, you do, Rob. We were just using your call in vain there.
I heard you.
Yeah. How big were those? What was the height on that rocket again? Didn't you say it was 3,000 something feet?
Yeah, the rocket itself was about 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall, something on that scale, 45 pounds, ready to fly, 5.5 inches in diameter, and we flew to 3,800 and change. We projected 4,200, so we were off a couple of 400 feet there. That hurt us in the contest, but regardless, there's that.
I forgot to ask you, are those standard rocket sizes for that you just buy, you know, from the suppliers?
Pretty much. The airframe is up to the builder, whether you buy a kit, and common sizes are, you know, 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, 5, 6-inch. But the rocket motors follow pretty much until you get to the level 3 certification. You have to buy your rocket motors, and they come in specific diameters like 25 millimeter, 54 millimeter, 75, and 98, which is basically 1, 2, 3, and 4 inches.
I got you. So nobody's using hypergolic fuels?
Not in this contest.
I can't imagine they would. That would be kind of dangerous even for people at the university level.
That's right. So anyway, we had a good time. We came in. Looks like we're going to place second overall this year. A bit of a disappointment, but that's a longer story. What is Colt? I'm going to send him an email. You remember his last name?
Meads, I believe it is. MEADS, I believe.
All right, I've got an address here for him. I'll send him the VADL website link.
All right, yeah, he's on that KN4BTW. He's on QRZ. His web and his emails on there too.
All right, cool.
All righty, very good. That was Robin, Kilo 4 Indy Delta Charlie, just south, 6 miles south of me, just west of the Mount Juliet Road, close to the lake, close to Percy Priest. Who else south of 40?
Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor. Oh.
Hold on, I heard a double in there, but I got Larry in there first. Larry, you doing? It was a beautiful day. Did you have to mow the lawn today?
No, not today, but I'm going to hit it pretty quick. And the satellite come over just about the time the net started.
I got to pay more attention to that. I got to do that one of these days. You know, I'm just old enough to remember the Sputnik going over and going to stand it out in my backyard and watch it go over the first time first day it was over at night that we were told about it.
Oh, yeah. And the base station was visible tonight. I think it was on TV. So that's where I was beginning of the net. So I thought I might do a late check-in.
How visible was it to you?
Oh, it's great. Middle Tennessee had a good shot at it tonight.
Was it just lights to you? I mean, a large light, or could you actually see? Well, were you just using naked eye?
Yeah, just naked eye. It's just a bright star, but it's moving across the sky pretty good.
Yeah, I guess it is moving pretty good. I don't know how fast that is trailing it. It makes how often does it make a revolution? Do you remember on the Earth?
I think about every 100 minutes or so, something like that. I can't remember.
Well, I'd say that's moving really fast.
Next pass is 1 hour and 3 minutes.
Oh, wow. All right. Will it be passing over Tennessee again?
No, this one's off to the west.
Yeah, okay, very good. Good to have you in there, Larry. Appreciate the info. And he was talking about the space station going overhead just as the net started at 8. That was Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor, and he's in Rockville. And who was the other party that was doubling there?
KR4AZ Mobile, Murfreesboro. I don't know if you can hear me or not there, Paul.
I got you on there. That's Tim Sullivan, Mobile in Murfreesboro. How you doing, Tim?
Doing fine. You come in good. The fellow there in Rockville, he was just about to get on the bars, so he's pretty doing good.
Oh yeah, well he's got a nice little tower and a nice antenna and a good amount of power. So from Rockville to you is a pretty easy shot.
When I'm at Murfreesboro, I wonder I may get out with this quarter-wave antenna, so I need all the help I can get with you guys with them big antennas. All right, I'm gonna get on out of here and let you get back to the net because I know nobody else is hearing me. So 53, enjoy. KR4AZ clear after you.
Yeah, very good. That was Tim, Alpha Romeo 4, Alpha Zulu, and he is mobile in Murfreesboro area. Not sure exactly where, but the signal's a little choppy on his mobile antenna. Who else saw the 40? I think there was a double in there, but I did hear David, KI4NDN. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right, Mr. Paul. I figured if I delayed, there'd be a double for sure, but I'm doing very well. Beautiful day, and I got half of the yard mowed.
Yeah, well, I know the yard needs mowing when I got rabbits in the backyard partying.
Yeah, even the little baby guy, I saw one that's very, very small, brand new.
Oh, well, I haven't seen any of those yet. Yeah, they're funny, the little ones.
Yes, sir. Well, good evening to you, Mr. Paul. Appreciate what you do. Back to you, sir. KI4NDN. Everybody, good to see you.
Yeah, very good. That was David, Kilo India 4, November Delta November, and he's in Reedyville, almost due south of me, about 30-something miles. Great signal for that distance. Who else we got south of Fort?
Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee, Bill, Murfreesboro.
Hey, Bill, you sound good tonight. How you doing otherwise?
Doing all right. I finally got to play a little bit in the yard today. Looks promising.
Yeah, no. I always, when I see the grass grow, it looks like yesterday I looked out, there was no grass. Now today it looks like I got to mow immediately, you know?
Now, I even opened up the fence under my house today.
You're really optimistic, I say.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't even, you know what? I'm so lazy. I don't even need to open or close them. I just leave them.
Well, I got half of them on the south and the east that are fully automatic, and the others shut a little tighter, and I've always left those in place.
Automatic? How do you do that?
No, you can buy them down there at any hardware store, farm store. You just take the old metal one out, maybe a little chippy brick or two here and there, and they slide right back in place. And they've got a little coil inside that depends on the temperature, and they open and close the vents.
Oh, I did not know that. We never had those in Florida, and I never had them in New York State. So never had them when I lived in Rhode Island either. But that's cool. I didn't know they had automatic ones. It makes sense.
Yep, in Florida I was on a slab, so I didn't have them down there. So I better let you get busy with the rest of these people. KM4NN will be cleared.
Yeah, very good. That was Bill, Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee, Murfreesboro, on Great Signal. Just taught me something I didn't know, which isn't hard to do. But automatic vents on the for the crawl space. All right, who was next? South of 40.
K4, OFO.
Hey, Donnie, I was using your name in vain earlier today. My wife got all ticked off. I'm not going to tell you why, but you can figure it out. That she goes, I got off Facebook. I'm sick of it. And I said, well, I think there's a good reason you're off. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you're right. I don't know the feeling. Well, I've had a good day today. It's been awful pretty, but we're going to have to get ready for it rain again. Looks like tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't realize that either. It is supposed to rain tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. I think starting tomorrow night, Friday both. So, yeah, I don't know. We just can't get rid of this rain, don't look like.
Well, I don't remember authorizing any rain. I still got to mow it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll give you a weather report from West Africa if you want. It's 108 degrees there today.
Yeah, well, it's 108 is pretty warm, I'll tell you. I know when I was in the Middle East a couple of times when I was in the Navy, it sometimes, not all the time, in the afternoon around 4 o'clock, it got to 125. And I got to tell you, it's almost death-defying.
Yeah, I know it. No, I got a guy down there today, and he wanted to do a lot of talking. He was interested in Nashville and everything else. So I just thought it was interesting. He was telling me everything. So get them every once in a while. Good to hear you on the net. Everybody else tonight. So I don't have anything further. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I wanted to mention there's a fella here listening, or he was, on the net. He's from Vancouver, Washington, not Vancouver, Canada, but Vancouver, Washington. And I think he had gotten hold of one of our, either one of my videos or one of our videos here on 2 meters. I just want to recognize him. Tim is, I want to give his call, but I don't see it here. Huh, I'd have to look it up. I saw it earlier today on the web, but I don't see it here. But anyway, I want to welcome him to the net if he's still listening. I don't want a weather report from. I'm afraid I probably do from Washington. Nice and cool and maybe rainy up there this time of year. I don't know which. All right. All right, let's move along. That was Donnie, Kilo 4 Oscar, Foxtrot Oscar. He's also about 6 miles south of me, just east of Mount Juliet Road. Who's next south? Please come in. I heard a lot of static. I can't hear who that is. Anybody get a copy on that station? Anybody copy that station?
If they'll repeat, I can pull him out there. KI-4NDN.
Any station south, please come down.
Oh, that was Woodbury Station, Kilo Delta 4 Papa something complete.
Well, since I can't hear it, I can make it anything I want. I think it's probably a station down there in Venezuela.
that Woodbury Station, say again, though. And they can't hear me, I'll get out of the KI-4NDN.
All right, whoever that station was, give us a try or send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. You're sounds like you're doing I could hear the signal come in, but I couldn't make out any words. So you're making it a little bit, in a little more height or a little more power or a little of both will get you here, or a little different conditions. I'm not sure which, but appreciate you trying. Who else we got south of 40? Anybody else south of Interstate 40? Yeah, nothing. We're moving over to the east end, east of Mount Juliet Road. All right, Wes. So could you hear that other station that came in? Okay, yeah, he must have been farther to the west than you, I guess. Because normally you'd be able to hear him if he was maybe south of you or east of you.
Yeah, didn't hear anything. Everything's going good here. Doing a good job.
Well, to be clear, though, I'm not sure even if you did hear it, you'd relay in. I'm pretty sure you would not relay it.
Yeah, against my code of conduct.
All right, very good. That was Wes, Kilo Echo 4 Tango Whiskey India, and he is in near Watertown. Who else south of 40? Please come in. Or east of Mount Juliet. That's where I am. East of Mount Juliet. Please come in.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kitty.
Okay. Hold on, Stan. 1 second. I did see. I got it was Kilo Delta 4 Bravo Papa, and that is I'm not sure who that is. Is there a name attached to that one? I see. It says antennas too low. Kilo Delta 4. I have to look that up. I don't know the first name. You can try again. Is that? I guess is the name Jess? Is that the first name? I'm looking at it on the comments on the side of the YouTube video. Yeah, appreciate you trying though. Yeah, getting it up higher and having a better an efficient antenna makes a world of difference. I know that from my own experience. But I appreciate you. I do appreciate your comment, and I appreciate you trying. All right, Stan, got you in there now. How you doing?
Doing well, Paul. Was someone asking what frequency the ISS is?
Who knows the frequency on the ISS?
It's 145 to 800, but I thought someone asked before, but I didn't hear anybody reply.
Oh no, you're right. I think I asked. And you said it was 145 what?
800.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, I'd appreciate that info. Oh, where was I? So how are you doing? Did you copy the station tonight? Is it, or did you just look at it as it went over?
No, neither. I wasn't sure what time it was coming over tonight.
I don't know that I guess I probably have seen it, but I can't remember because I just don't recall enough activity. I've seen the space station and I've watched different satellites over the years that go overhead, and I often didn't know which ones they were. In fact, when I was in the Navy over in out in the middle of the ocean on a moonless night, it was beautiful because you could lay out there and satellites came in clear, just clear as clear could be. And of course, you could determine they were satellites by their, same arc and the same light pattern. And you know what I'm saying? It was pretty easy to recognize which ones were the satellite.
Yeah. Before here, when it's been clear, a long time ago when I used to look for the geostationary satellites, it's pretty obvious if you look at them. You can kind of see them laid out across there in the arc. The space station is a whole lot brighter than they are, but you can still see them if you look close.
You know how long we've had geostationary satellites?
A long time.
No, I know it's a long time. I'm just wondering because can you see no motion with the geostationaries?
Not that I can see them. They look pretty stable.
Well, I thought they were. That's why I was just wondering about it because never mind. Doesn't matter the reason. I just never gave it much thought. All right, appreciate it, Stan. That was Stan, Kilo Mike 4, Hotel Quebec Echo. He's just a little north of downtown Lebanon. As you can imagine, a pretty darn good signal. Who else? Anybody else east of Mount Juliet?
Kilo India 4, Sierra India Bravo.
All right, Richard, you doing okay?
Doing pretty good. I've been busy in a long-tail cat in a room full of rocket chair, but we're doing fine. Hope everybody else is doing well.
I don't know. I mean, when you're able to go over eat hot dogs with Brent the other day, just taking your time doesn't sound too busy to me.
Well, how about putting a 10-foot by 12-foot gazebo together by yourself?
Well, I'm glad the wind didn't pick up. You might have went airborne.
Yeah, that's about right, too.
I did that myself. I put up one of those gazebos. It was a relatively cheap one, although I don't know if there's real expensive ones, but the wind picked up, and you can guess that thing picked up and went in all 42 different directions.
I don't doubt it. This one that I put together is not made out of a whole lot as far as the framework's concerned, but I'm hoping by the time I get through putting rods in the ground to hold it down to the ground, it may stick around for a bit, but we'll see.
Well, I did that. What make was it? Do you remember? Was it just a generic brand?
It's a generic brand. She bought it online from somewhere across the Great Divide.
Well, let me give you an advice if you want to take it. I found out that I left it up. I don't remember if it was up for a whole season this last time, but I left it up. It was perfectly. The way I laid it out, tied it down was perfect. It stayed stable. The only problem was the sun, the UV radiation ate up the roof, and the roof just fell apart. Of course, then the whole thing became trash. So if you can, put a piece of tarp over top the roof and secure it as well.
I may try and do that. The thing about this roof is that part of it in the center and the top is elevated to create a wind release, an air release up there. And it may prove to be a neat trick to cover all that with something else, but something I can look into for sure.
Well, I was just going to say it would be a cheap way to save replacing it every year because that's what's going to happen because the sun eats that thing up. At least it did on mine, and mine was a Coleman. Not that would make a difference. It's Coleman Coleman made in Peking or Shanghai?
Well, I'm not going to promise where this thing was made, but like I said, it ain't much function.
I hear you. No, I was just if I do it again, I'll do that. I will do that, or not do it at all. One of the two. But I think I paid $100 or $150 or something for this thing a few years ago.
Well, this is $100 and came in a box and some assembly required and that kind of thing. It's not a very expensive one. It's one of those deals where you essentially get what you pay for, and we didn't pay a lot, so we won't get a lot of profit. But it's good for the moment, and the interior of that thing is a whole lot bigger than you realize. It's a pretty sprawling. I had forgotten just how big the interior of 12 by 10 was, but it's not small.
No, that is big. You're right. That was what, 100.5? Well, that's that's nearly half as much as an X700 antenna.
Yeah, Paul, but you gotta make Mama happy.
I know. Well, she should be happy with a bigger antenna. You know that. All right. Good, Richard. Good to have you in there. That's Richard, Kilo India 4 Sierra India Bravo in near Lebanon. He only wishes he could. I think he's outside the city limits because they won't let him in. Is that right?
No, actually, I'm in the city limits. I'm about a half 3/4 of a mile off Main Street.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure where the city limits were. All right, very good. Again, Richard, Kilo India 4 Sierra India Bravo. Great signal with his new antenna. Who else we got? Where was I? East of Mount Juliet. Going up to north of Mount Juliet. Please come in. Anybody north of Mount Juliet?
KC8NNL.
Hey, I was going to email you. I hadn't heard you so long. I thought you moved.
Yeah, not quite. Just changed up the office a bit here and finally got the radio back attached to the antenna, other than getting a couple portable check-ins here and there and just keeping busy with work and family stuff, and had a chance to make too many nuts or too many breakfasts. But we'll see if we can make that this Saturday morning.
Oh, well, we'd be happy to have you, Jeff. Yeah, it's it. I just presumed you were busy because you're a working man and I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be the case. Family things, work things keep me busy for sure. Just pulled you up on the YouTube stream here. I take it that's seeing my signal on the S meter there. I'm sounding pretty good. I take it kind of back on my normal good antenna setup here at the house.
Oh yeah, well when you're full scale, you can't. Technically, you could be better than that, but as far as we're concerned, by the way, I forgot to mention, I already ordered the large meter. The 4-inch one. Much bigger. Look on YouTube. It's the giant LDG meter. I like this one, but I just wanted a bigger one.
Yeah, it works. Look forward to seeing the big one there. Yeah, I'm on low power this time around. Probably can't tell much of a difference. This is Jeff, KC8 and send it back to you.
Yeah, well, instead of full scale, you're 50 over or whatever that number is on that. I can't read. Hold on. Instead of 60 over, you were about 50 over. So but I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference if I wasn't looking at the meter. And what power was that? You were on 5 watts?
Yeah, I think the low power setting was 5. Now I cycled back through to high, which on this radio is probably 50. Not quite sure what the mid range is, if it's like a 10 or a 15 or a 25.
Yeah, I got you. No, you're doing real well. And which antenna are you using now?
Oh, one of those $100 X30 something or another. Just kind of the basic dual band fiberglass whip.
Oh yeah, no, those are great. And for what you're doing up there, your per signal is perfect to me, and I don't know how it is to everyone else. But how are you copying other people?
Getting decent copy for most of the closer in stations. I do have a pretty bad noise floor as usual, so some of the farther out stations I can drop the sculpture a bit, but the noise floor doesn't help too well. But hearing all the close in stations is pretty solid.
Yeah, very good, Jeff. That was Jeff. Kilo Charlie 8 November Oscar. He's in northwest Wilson County. Who else is north? Please come in.
KB9RKK.
All right, Frank. You got all that straightened out with, I see you and Bill got that straightened out with the repeaters on which repeaters and everything else.
Yeah. Hopefully that other one's got a bigger footprint and should hopefully simplify things and make it less confusing.
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried that Watertown repeater from too far north, but it sure does seem to have good coverage.
Yeah, depending where you're at, it can be deceiving because the receive site's on one mountaintop and the other one, and the transmitter's on the other one.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it's split, huh?
Yeah. One's on Jennings and the other one's on Defiance.
Huh? Didn't know that. Well, it's as long as I've been here, that's been a very high-performing repeater, but not used a whole lot.
Yeah, that's why we approached them and they said, yeah, go ahead and use it. I think it's linked over 1 1/4, 220.
Yeah, 220, 221. You know the rules.
So, yeah, and I think that was Jeff that was just checked in before me. He's given me just a little less than you because I think he's up this way.
Yep, he is. Well, he was using low power and then high power, but yeah, you should be able to get him easy.
Very easy, full quality, like loud.
Well, very good. Glad to hear it. That was Frank, Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo Kilo. Again, I learned something new. We had a repeater with a one transmit location and one receive location. Did not know that. All righty. Who else? Anybody else north? Appreciate you being there, Frank. Who else we got north?
W9BOQ.
Hey, Dennis, how are you doing today? I haven't heard you in a day or so.
Good. I forgot to turn the air on in my temporary shack, and it's just starting to cool off. It was hot in here.
You should be able to take that.
Yeah. Hey, a couple things. John in Bellevue, he was barely breaking my squelch. I couldn't even see him on my waterfall, but he was completely readable, his whole transmission. I would like to know why. That doesn't make any... And somebody else he talked to in Bellevue was breaking my squelch, but all I heard was static. I wish I knew what caused that.
Well, John's running about 90 watts, so that's partly the explanation. And even though you didn't appear to have any signal, the low signal strength and the high wattage apparently makes up the difference.
Another thing I noticed is that, hey, Robin, by the way, are you still there? I am. K4ID3. Good evening. I measured from the flat part of my barn to the outside of the rung of my tower, and it's exactly 10 inches between the outside circumference of the closest leg to the barn. All right, very good. And no peaks in the sheet metal in the way? Well, just there's the ribs, but I measured right to the flat part. Right. And if you look, how to say this so it makes sense. If I'm standing on the tower looking at the barn at where the leg is going to be 10 inches away from the barn, going left and right, going horizontally, how far away are the ribs? In other words, what's the span between the ribs at that location? I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know. But I thought you just needed that. I'll look at that tomorrow then.
Send him a video.
What I'm trying to do, Dennis, is spread the load across that span. I got you. You're going to have one on one leg and one on the other, but the other leg is farther away, right? Well, it's only going to attach it at the one point based on what you told me, and that's the one leg. But then go to the barn sheet metal. There's going to be a space between the peaks and the sheet metal, and I need to know what that distance is from the leg on each side. Okay, I'll get that tomorrow, and I will take a picture. The other thing I noticed is Robin looks like he's at 146.416, and Jeff looked like he was at 146.414. Everybody else looks like they're on frequency. That's another thing that puzzled me. And I have one more thing I wanted to say before I turn it back to you, Paul. When you were talking about the Sputnik, The Sputnik 4, which was actually the Korabel Sputnik, was their first attempt at not putting a guy in flight, but a spacecraft that could have a person in it. It crash landed in my hometown of Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Look it up.
I remember you telling me. Yeah, that's funny. I think they got a plaque on the spot, don't they?
They have a little brass ring in the concrete of the street where it fell. The two policemen that found it thought it was scrap metal from one of the foundries, and they left it there overnight because it was too hot to pick up. But then when they read in the news the next morning about it, they went back and picked it up and they sent it off to the Smithsonian.
That's funny. Yeah, it was probably the first attempt with Russian hackers.
Yep. Well, anyway, it's nice and cool in here now. Well, what do you think about that being on frequency thing? I mean, everybody else is dead on with my waterfall.
Everybody else is dead on with your waterfall. You're saying John's wasn't dead on with the frequency?
Yeah, he looked like Robin looked like he was 146.416, what he is, according to my meter. And Jeff was 146.414. Is that just the idiosyncrasy of a particular radio?
I think it's within the tolerance of the different VFOs on the different radios, yes.
Right. Okay, well, back to net. Thanks for what you do there, Paul. WNBOQ.
Yeah, if you can tell the difference in one with your ears, you're a good man.
So I got a waterfall.
No, I know. I'm saying if you could discern the difference, you'd be really good.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
All right, very good, Dennis. Got that little problem straightened out. Taking care of some tower installation business with Robin. Anybody else? That was Dennis, by the way. Whiskey 9, Bravo, Oscar Kilo, and he is in Castellan Springs. Who else we got? North, please come in.
Quebec.
Didn't I say Quebec?
Said Kilo.
That's a transposition of letters in my brain. It's Whiskey 9, Bravo, Oscar, Quebec. Sorry about that. Yeah, that stands for Bachelor Officers Quarters in the Navy lingo. I think I told you that. Anyway, anybody else north, please come now. Nothing else. Late check-ins and any place anywhere, please come in.
K4LXH.
Hey, how you doing, Jimmy?
Doing pretty good, Paul. Pretty good.
Did you finally get your hex beam going all right?
Yeah, it's doing pretty good. I did SWR graphs on it, and all the resonant points came out exactly where they're supposed to be, and so it's doing pretty good. I wish I could have it higher, but it's only 25 feet right now.
Listen, it's kind of like women if you ask them what they want in a house, it's a huge kitchen. Hams just want a really tall antenna.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably true. I was just wondering, I saw a thing on the ARRL digest about the new proposal for expansion of technician licenses into the HF band. I just wonder what you think about that.
I actually proposed a thought. Somebody asked me that a while ago, or I posted it somewhere, and one of the hams I know who lives over in south of Nashville. He liked the idea. I don't know. I'm sure he didn't have anything to do with it, but I actually thought it was a good idea to give more phone privileges in each part of the bands, but very narrow part. Doesn't have to be big, just to give people to whet their appetites, you know.
Yeah, I was just curious. There's I think according to the population stats I saw, there's 300 and something thousand technicians, and I think there's another almost 300,000 generals, and maybe another 150,000 extras. And I just wondered, if you take 300 and something thousand technicians and put them in with basically the general class, give them a lot of privileges in that class. What's that going to do to the spectrum? Is it going to get a lot more crowded or what?
No, not if you just give them little portions of it. I don't think you would. You're not trying to give them the whole band. It was just like you do with, like they do now in 10 meters. It's only just a little slice. And I would say that if you get people who are technicians and they say, wow, I can have part of 40, and they put up a 40 antenna and you only give them a little slice of it, they're going to want to do more, and they'll get into that general ticket pretty quick.
Yeah, what percentage of technicians do you think have interest in HF?
It's hard to say because so many technicians never seem to get on the air, or if they do, it's very briefly. I would say technicians that are interested. I'm going to say, as far as interested, because some technicians just want to get on the air in 2 meters, 70 centimeters, that kind of stuff. But others, I would say it's close to between 30 and 50%. They want to get into that the HF area.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. Saw the thing in the digest on it, and just wondering how people felt about it. Back to you there.
Yeah, and I was always intrigued that it stayed the same for many years now. That approximately, because there's still there's still some novices I think listed out there, and there's also still some oh gosh, what was between general and extra before? The advanced. There's still advanced out there, the ones that have been just sitting there because they haven't updated. But the extras are still only 15% of the entire licensing section.
Oh, okay. Well, I also heard there's still a few, a couple of thousand novices still out there. I just can't imagine somebody holding on to a novice license for that long.
Well, I don't know. It's funny to me because I see people who are much brighter than me in ham world, and they just have technician license because they're happy and they do a lot of neat stuff in the technician area. The whole what they want to do in the technician permits. And I know a whole bunch of guys that are they're really big stuff, and all they have is a general, and they just never. Early on, sometimes some of them are much older than me, but they sit in the general area because they didn't have an interest in the wider portion of the bands on CW, or they just didn't care because they didn't want to go for the higher CW requirements at the time.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that because that's what kept me from getting a ham license for many years is the CW requirement. I could never actually learn to copy code, without, you have to take a mental image of the sound you hear and immediately transform that to a letter. And I had to sort of think, what was that? Yes, okay, but you can't do that. You have to do it automatically.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. There can't. It's just like in conversation, as you know, with English. Well, if we're speaking English, that is. I don't know any other language fluently, but you generally, your brain somehow fills in the gaps and kind of knows what I'm going to say, even as I'm saying it. You know what words are going to fit in there, and you have to do the same thing with CW, which is also a language, and you just know words as they're being done. You know that certain words start with H and certain words start with T, and you fill in the blanks.
Yeah, well, I've heard some people say, well, I can teach a monkey how to send code or whatever, but I think it's a lot more complicated than that. There's certain physiological characteristics of a person's makeup that determine whether or not they're going to be able to copy code and send code.
Oh, I agree with you. To say that anybody can learn code, I think it's a pretty big jump because, well, obviously, some people are not motivated to do it. It's of no concern to them. They don't care. And there's others who would like to learn and have tried repeatedly and they can't do it for whatever reason. And they're not dumb. They just don't have that instantaneous ability to recognize those letters and words as they come through.
Yeah, I understand. I see what you mean. Well, I was just curious about this topic because if even half of the technicians decide to come on the HF bands and with propagation conditions improving over the next 7 to 8 years, things are going to get pretty crowded unless the FCC decides to release some additional spectrum.
Yeah, no, I don't know, because what it's going to do, it's going to just crowd up the general portion of the band or whatever they get, because they're not going to give them the extra portion of the band.
No, that's true. Into 40 meters, they're going to give them the proposals for FSB privileges in the 7.225 to 7.30 portion of the band. So that means the generals would have an extra 50 kilocycles down to 175. So if that's the case.
Yeah, I got you. That's why I don't think it'd be that big a deal, really. And if you'll notice, and if you haven't, I haven't done it myself in a while, but truly, if you're trying to make a lot of contacts, for whatever reason, you don't go into the extra portion of the band. You go in the general portion of the band because that's where the majority of the people are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's absolutely true. Okay. Well, I just curious about that. Back to you.
Yeah, very good, Jimmy. That was Jimmy. He's in north part of Mount Juliet up toward Lebanon Road, north of the high school. That's Kilo, November 4, Lima X-Ray Hotel. Anybody else late check-ins, please come in.
And 4 Kilo Uniform 4 X-Ray Quebec.
All right. I did hear Tim in there, but who was the other one? Kilo, November what?
KN4 PQX. Delta 4 Bravo Whiskey Charlie.
All right. Hang on, Jeff. Hang on, Tim. And PQX. I've got Joey in there.
Yep, that's me. My radio just threw an error code there for a second, so I hope it doesn't do it again.
Well, let's hope not. The next step is you blow the final. I don't know that I've ever seen mine throw an error code. Which radio is it?
It's my HT. It does it sometimes. It says error 2 and blinks, and then it just sits there until I turn it off and turn it back on again.
Okay. Just one of those operating system glitches, huh?
There's again, I may have to switch radios here for a second. But before I do I sound okay? Because I'm on a homemade antenna I made 2 days ago at the Cope Hanger.
Yeah, you're doing great. It's an S9 here. I don't know if you can read your SWR from on that little HT, but you're doing fine into me.
All right, well, that's good. As long as it's better than this rubber duck, then we're good. Because I don't think I was even bumping the meter using this to you.
Oh, okay, very good. No, you sound fine tonight, Joe. Good to have you in there. And that was Joey, Kilo November 4, Papa Quebec X-Ray, and good to have you in there, Joey. Let's see, I had another one there. Tim, Kilo Uniform 4 X-Ray Quebec. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is correct, man. How you doing?
I am doing. I was excited. I had a guy that I think you may have heard me earlier. There was a guy from Vancouver, Washington, who picked up on some of our videos there, made some commentary, and obviously he found us here. So he was checking in, although he can't check in HF or on radio frequencies, but he certainly can on the.
Oh wow, far out, man. That's cool. Yeah, I just happened to come out to the shack and I forgot about the net being all the night. I've been goofing off. But I did hear the thing about the techs getting privileges on HF. That's pretty cool. But I want to propose this. If they do that, then I think it to be an extra class, I'm going to make some people mad. They need to at least pass a 13-word a minute code, because it's a big part of ham radio. It's the main history of amateur radio. And if you want extra bad enough, then you need to pass the 13 words a minute. I'll shut up now. I know I made a lot of people mad. 73 is all around.
No, it doesn't matter if you made them mad, because the FCC and ARRL would never go for that. They're never going to go backwards in that requirement.
I know, but man, it irks some of those older fellows that some of these kids can come in. Well, maybe not kids, but sit down, take 3 tests, and be where I'm at, where it took me 2 years to learn 20 words a minute.
No, I understand, and it's like when I took when I just got into ham radio, just as they had the 5 words a minute was the requirement, and I think the following year they got rid of it. And so when people would, and I went from technician up to then the code, and then the general, and then the extra, and I took that, and so when people would ask me, because they didn't know me, I just got on the air, and they said, "Oh, I see you're an extra." I said, "No, it's really extra light."
Yeah. Hey, but on the other hand, I do see the price of HF rates going down, so that is a plus.
KM4TB radio check.
Yeah, hold on 1 second on that radio check. Tim, you sound good tonight. Anything else for the net?
I got nothing, Paul. Thanks for doing what you do. 73 is all around.
Yeah, that was Tim, Kilo Uniform 4 X-Ray Quebec. He's in Hendersonville. Had Jeff in there, and that was Kilo. Oh, man, I forgot that middle letter again. So Kilo Mike. BWC.
Whiskey Delta 4.
Yeah, you always get that messed up for some reason. I'm not sure why, Jeff. You doing all right?
Doing okay, sir. Doing okay. How do I sound? I've been having problems.
Well, you're doing fine to me right now. The problem that I remember, I was wondering if that was what problem you were having into the repeater last night was the problem that I recognized. It seemed kind of shaky. Did anybody else talk to you about that?
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I did. I even checked with my other radio, and it sounded good.
All righty, I don't know. Something was going on.
I'll have to try it on the repeater and see how it sounds.
Yeah, very good. Well, all right, Jeff. Good to have you in there. And it's Whiskey Delta 4. I'll get that bright. Yeah, it's like WD-40, WD4, BWC. Good to have you in there, Jeff. Jeff's in Lebanon. Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo, Whiskey Charlie. And there was another station in there. Go ahead. We had another radio check station in there.
Yeah, KM4TB, Chris, Murfreesboro. I didn't know you guys were having that. I apologize for that.
Ah, no, you're anybody's welcome. What was it? I saw that it was Kilo Mike 4 what?
Kilo November 4, Tango Echo Bravo, Chris, Murfreesboro.
That was Kilo November Bravo. I wasn't listening clearly, unfortunately.
Kilo November 4, Tango Echo Bravo.
Boy, I had that all messed up. Sorry about that. Yeah, Tango Echo Bravo. What was the first name again?
Chris, here in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, very good, Chris. Yeah, your radio sounds great here. You were just blasting me right out of my seat here. So, were you having issues with your antenna earlier?
I just raised it up some. I was just making sure that it was still working properly.
Well, you're doing about 10 over S9 to me here in Mount Juliet. I do hear very well to the south into Murfreesboro, so that's not a great feat. I've regularly worked handhelds and mobiles in certain areas of Murfreesboro, but you're doing fine.
Well, I appreciate you coming back. Y'all have a good night and carry on. We all done their game for TEB.
Yeah, very good. Very good, Chris. We're here every Wednesday and Saturday night at 8 p.m. If you want to join us, you're welcome. Or you can just monitor. But yeah, we're glad to have you. You don't have to worry about butting in. We just have a good time. And that was Kilo November 4 Tango Echo Bravo Chris in Murfreesboro. First time check in and by accident, but there are no accidents. He was here just to hear us talking nonsense. Who else has late check in? Please come in.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Delta 4 Bravo Papa, Woodbury, Tennessee.
Hey, yeah, sounds good. How'd you make it in this time?
I hooked up a 75-watt radio.
Aha. You know, are you using a Yaesu radio?
Sure.
You say yes?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got that little icon. It looks like a little nuclear icon on a display that's for, I think that's for something. I forget what it's for. I used to have one of those. I don't remember that's for that other function. You have to turn it off, but you give it a little beep every time you hit the push to talk. You get that beep.
I hear that. I don't know. It's a new radio to me, so it's sort of I'm looking at it upside down. I see INT on it.
Yeah, there is I believe that's for the wires connections. I believe that's what it's for. I could be mistaken, but that's why I knew it was a Yaesu, because I'd heard that before from me and others.
I guess I moved to a wire then. Kilo Delta 4 Bravo Papa. It's the first time I've gotten in touch with you. I've been listening to you on my TS 700 SP, but it's only 10 watts.
Ah, okay. Well, you're coming in good, and you say you're in Woodbury?
Sir, I'm in Woodbury, Tennessee, downtown, with about a 12-foot antenna.
Well, you're doing great from Woodbury, I'll tell you. And it's a vertical you're using, huh?
So it's a Comet, I think a GP3 or 6.
Well, you must be in a good location, because one of the other fellas down in Woodbury, KE4TYJ, I don't know if you know Jim or not.
I heard him log into the 9-1 repeater, I think, one night, and I've had license a long time, but I'm just now getting back into it, so I'm sort of new on keeping up with people's calls.
Oh, I know. Don't worry about it. I have to struggle with that every time I do a net. I got to make my brain remember those calls, and I don't always do a good job. But no, you're doing a good job, Jess. In fact, Jim and I were talking recently that Cannon County you're one of 53 hams. I think it's 53 hams in all of Cannon County. But that's still, on a per capita basis, it has a higher percentage of hams than even Davidson County.
10-4, yes, I saw that also. I went on something and looked and tried to print them all out. I think I printed out 38. But I'm glad to hear that. I know there's several around here. I've seen some antennas sticking up here. Okay, I'll clear off here, and you might come back and let me know the sideband frequency I'm going to be on. KD4 BBP in Woodbury, Tennessee. Jess Rogers.
Yeah, Jess, we're going to be on sideband on Saturday nights, and that's normally we do 144.240. 144.240 upper sideband.
Well, thank you.
All right, very good. Good to have you in there, Jess. And that was Jess with Kilo Delta 4 Bravo Bravo Papa, and he's in Woodbury. Good signal on a pretty high power station, but he came in fine on a vertical from Woodbury. Anybody else? Late check-ins, please come down. Yep. Come on. I had a little interruption there. If anybody was watching the video, I had one big dog come in and was bothering another dog and was growling at him, and I had to kick both of them. Is there any late check-ins before we move forward? All right, we move on to the lurkers, lollygaggers, sandbaggers, SDR listeners, the SDR donglers. Excuse me, it would be the scanner listeners and the SDR donglers. I messed that up. And who else we're getting? Oh, yeah, the preppers and the end-time survivalists. That's the ones we're looking for. Is anybody else checking in? Please come in. All righty, procrastinators have to check in after midnight, which I may or may not be here. But you can check with me tomorrow. And I'm closing that. We had 23, which is a real average number for us, and I appreciate everybody who's interested there, and even the ones who come in here accidentally. We're glad to have you. This is Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey with the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net, and good night, everybody.